expert, Mr. Greg Dickerson. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, Michael. Good to see you.
Nice to see you as well. So one of the things I want to have a conversation about, I've been doing a lot of reading about what's going on in China, both the property development arena like Evergrande and all the others. But more importantly now for this conversation, I want to talk what's going on with common prosperity, or the attack, the clear attack on wealth in China. And we're not going to really focus on China as the thing, but we're going to focus on the wealthy. You ready?
Yeah.
So what I want to kind of paint the vision of what's going on there. Again, I've read several articles over the weekend where the rich now are afraid. They are doing things like deleting social media, right? Because they don't want to have video or picture evidence of their extravagant life cycle. There's attack on just all kinds of things, whether it's the stock market, property development, just conspicuous consumption, if you will. And what I want to talk about here is when the wealthy feel under attack, whether it's in the US, South America, China, anywhere, you kind of can predict their behavior, right? Obviously, they stop investing, right? If you are going to attack me, I'm probably going to get small. I'm going to hide. I'm going to try to get out of your way. And second, I'm going to do everything I can to move my liquidity, my wealth elsewhere. So you can't see it. It's ungettable, or at least harder to get. Does any of that make sense, or am I crazy?
Well, there's degrees of all that, but yeah, I mean, you're already seeing it. People moved out of New York because of taxes. People are leaving California because of taxes, and it's all spectrums of the wealth curve. Globally, and different countries have different ways of attacking and controlling that. But yeah, in general, if you take people's incentive away to create, they're not going to create, because at some point, it's just not worth it. Now, the question is, what is that point? How far can you go, and how far, will you go as a government, as an authority, in that? But yeah, I mean, obviously it's all about preservation of wealth. People take risks, they work hard to create wealth and generate wealth. And there is, an attack on wealth in general around the world, that, there's a certain amount of wealth that people should be able to achieve, and that's it. So there's a mindset, and a belief out there that people should only be able to achieve so much wealth, and not, infinite as much as they want to. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that think that they know what needs to be done with people's excess wealth, governments, mm-hmm. Specifically policymakers and things like that. So yeah, they're going to try to protect it. It's the cost of doing business. So, from a wealth standpoint, from a business owner standpoint, there will come a point, and can come a point, to where it just doesn't make sense to take risk or be in business if it's so punitive, that it just isn't worth it. So yeah, you'll go do something else, or you'll just close down. Mm-hmm. We're already seeing that with a lot of businesses through the pandemic, the rising costs, the lack of, available labor, and, things like that, and trying to comply with, all the new rules with COVID and health and things like that. It's just too cost prohibitive. So you see a lot of businesses that just shut down, but for everyone that shuts down, another one opens, and you just factor it into the equation. So once, something actually happens, and they actually take some action on some of these, things that they're talking about, we'll see what people do. But you already see, Elon's moving out of California. Mm-hmm. Tons of people have moved out of New York. Jim Rogers is in Singapore. I mean, there's people, all around the world trying to protect their wealth, and, trying to, protect what it is that they worked their lives to achieve. And now, granted, there are, a lot of legal, mm-hmm. loopholes that a lot of wealthy people use, because, that's how the world goes around, right? The wealthy, contribute to the policymakers who make the tax laws and the rules. And at the end of the day, like, people blame the wealthy. It's really the politicians and the policymakers is who you should be after, because mm-hmm. it's a power grab from them. They use the tax code to control the power of the wealthy, and to keep themselves in office. So that's really where it starts. So a lot of people are attacking the wrong people. You need to be attacking the policymaker and the government officials that are the ones that are creating these loopholes so that they can get money from, the ultra wealthy.
Yeah. Again, I'm kind of reading in more and more about this common prosperity socialist, mantra, really moving that direction in China. There's been some examples about some policies that they did in 2012, and I thought it was interesting. The outcome of it was a lot of the kind of quote unquote the 1% in China suddenly became art connoisseurs, right? They had a lot of money, cash, whatever they call it, yuan, renminbi, whatever it is. And suddenly they just started buying lots of art. And that's when you saw a big run up in art prices, because that was the one of the ways they could quote unquote launder, hide, whatever you want, some of their things. So again, I think there's a general attack. I think when you get, like, especially in China today, the wealthy are under attack, no question. They're going to change behavior immediately, right? I.e., they're deleting social media so there's no evidence. Two, they will start to immediately look for exits. And that's where I come to the United States, right? I think just recently, I think today or maybe it was yesterday, international travel is reopened. And I'm wondering how much China money comes to the US, because again, it's not being treated well where at home. And when currency or wealth is not treated well at home, it goes somewhere else. So we could see a huge inflush of Chinese investment, which maybe I didn't expect 6 months ago. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, but they're only allowed to, do so much outside the country, so they have to find creative ways to do it, and they have to hide it. That's
Creative
why the
or
ban,
illegal?
right, right. So that's why the ban on cryptocurrencies in China, because
Correct.
they were using that mechanism to move money out of the country.
Absolutely.
You'll see the NFT. So a lot of it's being done in cryptocurrencies. A lot of it's being done in the NFT space. You'll see some of these, JPEG NFTs going for obscene amounts of money, and a lot of it's money laundering. A lot of it's moving money out of countries,
Mhm.
things like that. A lot of buying and selling from, myself, to move that money, because you can set up wallets that are anonymous. Nobody knows who they are. They can see the transactions happening. So you're just buying and selling from yourself at the end of the day, and then you're creating value on that, and that's what happens in cryptocurrencies. Driving, you'll see these huge price spikes out of nowhere. A lot of times it's a wealthy individual that holds a lot of the currency, and they can set up some random wallets, buy and sell from themselves to drive
Oh,
the price
geez.
up.
Yeah. Is that what they call a rug pull?
Well, rug pull is, when it's moved up, and then,
Yeah.
the whole team, like, just abandons a project, like that Squid Game token. So that
Yeah.
was a rug pull where they set it up, they put it out there, all of the founders, and, liquidate their holdings, and then they just abandon the whole thing. So that's a
Yeah.
rug pull,
Yeah. That's not
it pulls
cool.
out for money. But what I'm talking about is more like, imagine if you owned all the real estate in California, or
Okay.
had control of
Yeah.
all the real estate in California. Okay. And you set the price, and you could just buy and sell from yourself, to
Ah,
get the frenzy going, and then you're selling to everybody else. So
got it. Okay.
it's kind of like that. People can come in because crypto market caps are so small. One or two wealthy investors can come in, work
Really
together, work by
influence. Yeah.
themselves, and they can drive these things up. And you'll see these huge spikes out of nowhere for no reason. And that's what's
Mm,
going on.
got it. Yeah. So again, it's very interesting time. I think, the attack on the wealthy it's going to cause interesting behavior. And whether it's NFTs as you're highlighting, or cryptos, or real estate, or whatever, I think
Art, yeah.
art, right now, art was a great example of 2012. I think it's like when you have a balloon, right? And you press on one thing, the air goes somewhere else. It's going to be interesting to see where the wealthy, specifically in China, but other countries as well, where that goes. Cause it might be unpredictable. Maybe it's really easy. Maybe it's NFTs and cryptos, but it's going to be interesting to watch, because when wealth is under attack, they find a way, legal or not, to move it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of support, from the general public and general population to go after the wealthy, because of the way that they're able to take advantage of tax codes around the world and do things that the average person's not able to do. So, they know their days are numbered, and there's bullseyes on their backs. And the general population, because of what's going on, and especially when you look at investment banks, record earnings, because all of
Yeah.
the money that's being created by the central banks, it's all going to the Goldman Sachs and the Credit Suisse and JP Morgans. I mean, record earnings, because they're just given all this free money, and they're able to do things with hundreds of billions of dollars and make small margins on that
Yeah.
churn, that the average person can't do.
Yeah.
So there's a reckoning a coming, and a lot of people are fed up with it. And then you have the politicians that are just recklessly spending,
Oh,
all of the money that the average person, earns and pays in taxes, with, and then enriching themselves. So there's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of, a lot of that stuff going on that, people are rising up against. And, that's one of the reasons crypto was created, to get outside of the banking system and all of that. But, they're coming after that. That's going to be, taxed. It already is, but a lot of people have been avoiding it,
mhm,
by doing it offshore,
mhm.
and so, that's all going to get reined in, and it's going to change that market here real soon. And it's going to be more and more difficult to, even hide behind
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. Very interesting times, never boring. It's very interesting as we head in the end of 2021 into 2022. I'm happy that you're going to be with us every week to talk about it. Greg, how can people find you?
Yeah, gregdickerson.com. That's where all my info is. YouTube podcast, go check it out.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.